This recording is started.
Good evening. Today our topic is about greenwashing, and our team members are Asim Shah, Lukman Harshad, Jamal Khan, and Angela Thomas. The introduction is greenwashing refers to the practice of misleading consumers by falsely portraying products or practices as environmental sustainable. This is a common tactic in the fashion industry, where brands frequently use sustainability as a marketing strategy without implementing meaningful environmental changes. Next slide, please. The problem identification is many fashion brands use words like eco friendly or green without showing proof of what makes their products sustainable. Fast fashion companies often promote eco collections but still use harmful production practices that don't align with those claims. Shoppers and regulators are starting to question these claims and demand more honesty and transparency. Brands that lie about sustainability can face legal trouble and lose the trust of their customers. In the long run, greenwashing damages a brand's image and makes people less likely to believe any of their future efforts. Next slide, please. The sustainable fashion movement is growing fast, but greenwashing weakens its real impact. Some brands only share positive sustainability info, hiding the full picture. Textile recycling often doesn't work well. Most clothes still end up in landfills. Companies care more about short term profits than long term environmental goals. Weak regulations make it hard to stop misleading green claims. Now, Lukman will be talking about the data.
Hello, my name is Lukman Arshad, and today I am going to talk about the data. So, so here's the first point: is brand claims eco-friendly without proof. The another one is wage terms mislead green conscious buyers. Most of them, the small wins are showcased, big harms hidden. So carbon offsetting distract from real issues that is very harmful. Green visuals falsely suggest sustainability and nature and the organizations, both of them, the lack of regulation in the data and the claims often lack clearly measurable data. The third party that is are the rare and very weak according to their certificate, and the sustainability language is confusing, that is not understandable in the consumer. So greenwashing damages trust in real eco-friendly, that defaming the brands and their misleading, and the widespread misleading claims that 60% of the fashion brand sustainability claims are misleading or lack evidence. The second one is the lack of transparency. Only 10% of brands provide clear, very verifiable environmental impact data. And the third one is an exaggerated green claims, that in which the 42% of eco-friendly claims are exaggerated, falsely or deceptive. Fourth one is the consumer distrust rising. 35% of the consumer believes brands overstate their sustainability efforts. And the fifth one is the weak certifications usage. 12% of the companies back, only 12% companies back claims with third party certifications. That is not good for their brand valuation. The another one, the carbon offsetting is not equal to real impact. Despite offsets, fashion still causes up to 10% of global carbon emissions. The next slide is, so here's the data analysis. So first of all, the widespread greenwashing, the majority of 60% sustainability claims in fashions are misleading, show how common deceptive marketing has become. Transparency lack. Only 10% of brands provide verifiable sustainability data. The rest of them, they do not, reflects a major gap in openness and accountability. The another one is wage eco language. Brands use unclear terms to appear sustainability, avoid responsibility while appealing to eco conscious buyer. The false claims are common. 42% of the green claims are exaggerated or untrue, indicates intentionally deception of consumer confusion. Greenwashings blur the line between real and fake sustainability. Uh, Ethical brands become harder to identify. The last one is the declining consumer trust. 35% of the consumer feel misled by green claims. The next slide, please. So weak verifications. So is a weak verification undermines trust. Only 12% of brands use third-party certifications. The rest of them, they do not. Without verification, green claims lack credibility. The lack of regulation enables greenwashing. Loose rules let companies label harmful practices as green. No standard is equal to no accountability. A carbon offsetting as a smoke screen. Offsetting often shifts focus from core environmental harm used to justify ongoing unsustainability operations. Overstated minor efforts, small eco-friendly steps are overhyped, distract from bigger negative impact. Green imaginary misleading consumers, nature visuals, and eco labels suggest false responsibility, manipulates perception without real action. Harm to real sustainability. Greenwashing discredit genuine efforts, make it harder for ethical brands to stand out. Reputations and legal risk. Misleading claims can lead to consumer backlash and regulation, increasing pressure from watchdogs and authorities. That's from my side, and now Jamal will continue.
Good evening, everybody. Today I'm talking about finding deceptive environmental claims. So, the first one is the many fashion brands use fake language like eco-friendly without clear evidence. So, the first one is like greenwashing has become a widespread issue. It's like fashion industry with only 12% of brands using third-party verification, severely weakening the credibility of their environmental claims. Due to the lack of strict regulation, companies often market unsustainable practices under the guise of the green, a common tactic in carbon offsetting which is frequently used to distract from core environmental damage rather than solve it. Brands also highlight minor eco-friendly initiatives to divert attention from much large environmental impact. While green imagery, symbols, and waste language like eco-friendly mislead consumer into believing a brand is more sustainable than it actually is. So the companies exaggerate minor green efforts to hiding major environment impacts like carbon offsetting is used to distract from unsustainable production. So the misleading marketing not only determines generally sustainable efforts but also poses significant risk. to brand credibility and opens the door regularity backlash. Next slide, please. So the CSR reports highlight selective sustainable achievement, ignoring core issues. Brands use CSR or PR tools rather than driving real change. So, with 35% believing that brands exaggerate their environmental progress, despite these green claims, the fashion industry continue to contribute up to 10% of global carbon emissions. Greenwashing does not just fool consumers, like it's delay real environment progress and damages trust in brand to trying to create actual change. So the greenwashing undermines the credibility of genuine CSR efforts, like consumer grows spectacle of all CSR claims due to misleading tactics. Moreover, many brands use CSR reports selectively, showcasing minor achievements while ignoring the core environmental impact. These reports often serve more as PR tool than the genuine stated values, like actual practices. The fuels consumers distract and undermines the credibility of authentic corporate responsibility. So the next one is like analysis the roles of branding in greenwashing. Branding heavily impact the consumer trust and loyalty. So the branding plays a major role in deception through green color palettes, eco themes, visuals, and emotionally appealing slogans to companies create a false image of sustainability, transparency, and making greenwashing harder to detect. In reality, without third party verification or regulation, branding becomes a mask for unethical practices. So, the greenwashing lead to declining consumer trust in sustainability claims. Consumer feel decide when environmental promises are broken, and loss of trust directly affects brands' loyalty and repeat purchases. So, the truly move toward sustainability, the industry must embrace greater transparency, independent verification, and stricter oversight. Without these, greenwashing will continue to overshadow real progress and customer trust will keep eroding. So, I give the opportunity to Asim. So, continue.
Thank you, Jamal Khan. My name is Muhammad Asim, and I will be taking over from here to wrap up the analysis part of our presentations. So let's begin with the difference between ethical versus performative CSR. Ethical CSR focuses on genuine social and environmental responsibility. It truly integrates environmental and social values to its core operations. This is authentic, strategic, and mean to drive real change through sustainable sourcing, fair labor, or honest reporting. Whereas performative CSR prioritizes images over impact, often lacking meaningful actions. Most of the brands like they represent the slogans like eco-friendly and sustainable, while their actions are totally different from their business operations. Companies practicing ethical CSR integrate sustainability into its core operations, which is very useful for the brand's reputations and long-term customer trust. Whereas the performative efforts are usually short-term and marketing driven, but in the long term, the brands are lose the faith of customers. So nowadays, consumers are getting better by identifying the real and fake sustainability according to the brands. So better spotting this difference due to a growing awareness, especially in the fashion industry. Performative CSR might protect a brand image temporarily, but ultimately it will lose the customer trust, whereas ethical CSR is hard to achieve, but it will increase the credibility and long-term value for the business. So how can we move the companies away from performative tactics and towards real responsibility that bring us to our recommendations? So recommendations to counter greenwashing and encourage ethical behavior, we propose a few few practical steps to contribute to the solution. The transparency of their sustainability reporting with verifiable data. The company should invest in the third-party certifications to validate eco-friendly claims, not even just the slogans and the show of images. To avoid greenwashing, marketing strategies have to match what is happening with the real environmental issues. In business, the company should integrate the core responsibilities and operations of sustainability into its business model, not just by the marketing or branding. For the foster long-term consumer trust by prioritizing ethical sourcing and production from its like sourcing to operations and to the reporting at the end of all the operations of manufacturing. To stay ahead of this uh, competition of the market in fashion brand industries, the companies should like combine efforts. These combined efforts shift the fashion industry toward a more honest and accountable future. Let's wrap up it by summarizing why all these measurements and why all this really matters for the fashion industry. To conclude our presentation, to conclude, greenwashing is more than just a marketing issue. It's a barrier to genuine progress in sustainability. Greenwashing breaks the consumer's trust and it's detrimental for the brand credibility. It is true that long-term success depends on the efforts of genuine sustainability with transparency and ethical practices. To emerge as a leaders in this industry, brands have to follow through with what they claim. Brands that brands that common to real sustainability, not just in words but in action, will ultimately earn greater trust and long-term liability. At the end, greenwashing might work in the short run, but genuine responsibility is what creates lasting impact for both people and for the planet. By embracing authentic sustainability, companies can rebuild trust and gain a competitive advantage in the fashion industry to stay ahead in the market. So this is the end of our presentation. Thank you, everyone. On the last slide is we have some references from where we have gathered the information and research of our presentation.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Austin. Thank you, all of you.
Okay.